Okay, all. So this is a 10,000 mile report. I had this car for about 6 months, just a little bit over 6 months, and I'd driven a total of 10,000 miles on this car as of today. So I'm about to report what the experience is. See, as you see it, the car has 10,017 miles on it. And then there's the interior of the car, like the overview, and then the driver position and everything. So the things that I have to say that I like on the car, I mean, I think I have more things that I like on the car than I do that I don't. Anyway, more things I like on the car than I don't. So the things that I like, the first thing is the style and the looks. It's up to date. I mean, it's not like the typical 80s boxy style or the boring, like the ones where they look typical, like it's like the typical car that you see every day. I mean, to me anyway, this car is on the up-to-date styling, it's not like the same old Toyota, Corolla look, it's not the same old look, or the same old Toyota Tercel look, or anything like that, it's like the style is like up to date, or at least that's me anyway. So that's number one, and then is like the style, the antenna. My wife said that she liked the antenna because on the 06 Sentra that I had, the antenna was over here. So the style and the looks. Well, anyway, I gotta show you the engine anyway. See this right here? It's spark plug wires. Spark plug wires right there. Just kidding. That was not spark plug wires. That's just a vacuum hose. See? But it doesn't have any spark plugs. Spark plug wires. Now this is with the thingy off, so I'm gonna put it back on now. Clamps on. Well, anyway, so other things that I like on this car, it's a smooth rider. It's decently smooth and quiet. It's a quiet ride. It's not bumpy. It's like we don't hear a lot of road noise. It's quiet. It's not bumpy. Like the older stripped down cars. Like this car, and then because of the insulation in here, you could see the insulation in the fender area, and then of course the insulation on the engine hood, and then there's insulation back there. See, that's what makes it quiet. Other things that I really like on the car, and then the stereo is probably one of my favorite parts of the car. This is one of my favorite parts of the car, the whole car. Because I like the display. It's really easy to read, and then it's pretty easy to use, and then it uses USB sticks, which is nice. That's a part that I really like about the stereo. And it's loud and clear. It sounds loud and good. And then it has these steering wheel controls. That's what I like. It came with them as standard stuff. And then of course, I could hook up iPhones and they'll read it. And then the display, it's plentiful. And then it does have Sirius built in as well. That's one of my favorite parts of the car. And another part that's good in this car is roomy. It's roomy. It's like plenty of headroom. It's like for my head, you could see it. Well, I'm 5'6", but Well, you know, this seat here, I could adjust it up and down. Like, I could go up and down to make more room if I wanted to. And the other thing I like on this car, it's the sun visors. Visors, or, well, it has this vanity mirror, but, you know, the thing I like about these is because it pulls out, it extends. You know, that it extends, because sometimes I need it to do that. Because a lot of cars don't do that, you know. And then the other thing I like on the car is that it comes with a lot of extras that would normally cost extra. Or in the older cars, you had to buy the best model to get it. Like, for an example, it does have ABS brakes, and then rear disc brakes, and tire pressure monitor. And then it has a trip computer, which I like. It comes with that, you know. That's what I like, you know. And then it's all on the steering wheel too. We don't do anything on here, which is actually sort of nice. And then it has a built-in Sirius radio for those of us who likes that kind of stuff. And then the other thing I like in this car, it's the interior details. I mean, like, some interior parts might be plasticky or looks like it, but it's like, I mean, it may look and feel cheap, but it's not cheap, though. I'm telling you that right now. It's not cheap. The plastic may feel cheap, but it's not cheap, though. It's not cheap, because the reason why I could say that is because I have kids, and then, you know, like, they abuse the car, you know. I know their foot has been on here dozens of times, and, you know, they've done their little things on the car here, but they spilled milk there, you know. You know, they rub their foot here all the time, and yet there's no scratches, you know. No scratches from it. So the plastic is actually pretty good. And then, you know, I like the little details that they put in the interior of the car, like this, you know, like on the air conditioner they put a really nice shiny coating over here, but it's like shiny plastic here. You know, it's like they put some time in designing the car. Like they painted it, or they put instead of cheap black plastic, you know, they put like a nice plastic over here, and then the chrome around here, you know, the chrome around here. I mean, they would normally do that on the more expensive cars, and while on the cheaper cars, they would do just all plastic, you know, like the ones that you could buy for like a few bucks. And what else do I like on this car? You know, the details of the interior, you know, the little details. Yeah, I mean, like, it's mostly the dash area. I mean, and even the door handle, you know, these are not cheap. But normally it would be cheap black plastic. But they at least put some time on putting paint on this, you know. I don't even know if it's paint or not. But anyway, other things that I like, the air conditioner is really strong. Really works really good in this car. I mean, like, we actually get cold even on the hottest days in the world. The air works really good in this car. It's really, really good. And then the horn is loud. I mean, it's business. It means business when I honk the horn. I mean, it's not like the way, you know, sometimes the horns are not loud enough in a lot of cars sometimes. Well, this one's loud enough. And then for the other things I like on the car, it's like you know, some of the standard exterior features, like the wheels, you know, the standard wheels on this car. It's not these cheap ass, you know, tiny tires, you know, these tiny wheels and tiny tires in a big well, you know. With these tires, for that example, the tires and the rims, these are 15-inch, and the tires are 185/65, which is kind of like partly low profile. I mean, that's what gives the car the look. At least it's not one of these cars with these tiny wheels and these big wheel wells, you know, where it obviously looks like um something bigger is supposed to go in there. It's not one of those cars, you know, like, you know, you get those cars like the stripped down cars where they have these tiny wheels, and I always disliked that. I thought that always looks like shit, you know, it looks stupid when they do that. So, but this car is not one of those. And then the other thing I like too, that's interesting, it's an interesting feature that this car has, where for stick shift, for the cars with stick shift, when we're waiting at a light or something going uphill, like the car holds itself, like it brakes, it kind of like holds on to itself, like so that way it won't roll back. That way it's not going to roll back when we try to get it in gear, when we want to go off the light, when we want to continue with the light, when the light turns green, so that way the car won't roll. But that feature only works half the time, though. Only half. I'm yet to figure out exactly how it works. But anyway, and now that was the things that I like on the car. Now for the things that I don't like on the car. The things that I don't like. The number one thing that I dislike on the car, it's the rear vision. Because of the way, you know, because like the car is like, the way it's designed is like it goes up and up. The rear vision is probably the number one thing I dislike on this car. The number one thing. And then it's like over here, it's like when I'm looking, it's like I can't see anything. Like especially through that back dash, I can't see anything. I mean, it's really hard. It's really hard, you know, to see. Back there, when I'm backing up, it's really hard. That's probably the number one thing I dislike, and especially if we're short, we're not going to see. So I'm dependent on the mirrors for some of the time, but even then, it doesn't work. You have to use your judgment on that one here. And then the other thing that I don't exactly like on this car is the gas mileage is not impressive. It's not impressive. The gas mileage is not impressive. I've been getting about like the average miles to date, as of today, all the way till 10,000 miles, the average has been 27. I've been getting 27 miles per gallon on average. The best I ever got was something like 29, maybe, 29. Nothing more than that, though. But I think the lowest I get is like 25, so I actually get between 25 and 29. That's the mile, and it's not impressive. Not very impressive to me, anyway, because I would expect a stick shift to be good on mileage, but it's not. And then the other big thing that I don't like on this car is it's the lack of spare tire. I mean, they should not do that. I mean, a normal car is going to come with it's going to come with the spare tire. Even the stripped down cars are going to come with that, you know. But they skimped out on that, on this one. That's the other big thing that I dislike on the car, that it didn't come with the spare tire. But, oh well, just have to buy one, I guess. Well, anyway, and then the other thing that's to dislike on the car is it lacks a temperature gauge. I mean, although it's not something that we use very often, but it's nice to have one, though, because, like, if the car starts getting older, I want to be able to monitor if it's heating up or not, you know. It can be a bad thing not to have a temperature gauge because we don't know if the car is heating up or not. And then the passenger seat, the other thing I don't like is the passenger seat doesn't adjust up and down. It's only the driver's seat that does that. But the passenger, so my wife, like she can't really, it's like her head like sits really low here, and so she's only seeing the dashboard, and you can't really see much higher than that. And the seats are just like the material on the seats, they feel kind of like harsh. They feel sort of harsh. But they're just okay. They feel hard, but they're just okay. They're not the most comfortable thing in the world, but they're still okay, though. They feel harsh. They feel harsh. And then the other thing I don't like, most of these things I don't like is little things. It's just a little thing, no big deal, The only big deals was like the first two. Rear vision and the gas mileage is not impressive. The other thing was the cup holders. There's no cup holders here. It would be nice if they were here. But they don't have them here. That's another little thing, And the other thing I don't quite like, it's like, this car has 6 speeds. And I'm not really a fan of six speeds because it's too many gears to have to worry about, Because when I want to pass, for an example, I have to skip a lot of gears just to pass. Like, for an example, I'm driving on 6th gear, and then if I want to pass a truck or something, I have to go directly to 3rd. Because I'm not going to have enough power if I go to 5th. Because with each gear, I only save about 500 RPMs. That's all it does. That's what each gear does. It only saves me about 500 RPMs. It doesn't really do much good, especially on a car like this that's small, like where the engine is limited power and stuff. Well, anyway, I guess I cannot really think of enough bad things to say on this car, honestly, though. This car, there's not enough bad things to say. All in all, I'm actually happy with the car overall. I'm really happy with the car as far as I'm concerned overall. For the price, I'm happy with the car. For the price, yeah. So that's my review of this whole car.